Welcome to the Twa Penguin podcast, your weekly dose of uplifting conversations and inspiring stories.
Sponsored by.
My guest is Admire, who is 20 years old, and Admire is a sweet potato farmer. Admire, welcome to the Twa Penguin podcast, where you find your voice. Can you start by introducing yourself, Admire? You are on mute again, Admire.
My bad.
I can hear you now. Welcome,
You can hear
Admire.
me now.
I can hear you.
Good. So my name is Admire. I'm 20 years old. My birthday is on the 1st of February. I was born in 2004, and I grew passion into farming. And today here I stand as a sweet potato farmer, and I think I'm doing the right thing.
Lovely. So to all those who have joined us on the Twa Penguin podcast, we've got Admire, who's a 20-year-old sweet potato farmer based in Zimbabwe. Honestly, this is amazing to have a 20-year-old who is focusing on farming. If you look at it, most of the 20-year-olds these days, they don't do what Admire is doing. They don't venture into farming. They don't invest into farming. So Admire, really, your story is an amazing one and very inspirational, even to both the elderly and the young ones. So, without wasting any time, Admire, what is it that got you into farming?
It started when I was young. Like I said before, my dad was into farming, and we used to go to the farm during weekends, just going to the farm, getting to spend the whole weekend there. So for me, something that I started growing interest in, and I started liking what he was doing there. And as time went on, now growing up, I actually realized that farming is the way to go, because if we look at a lot of countries, most countries' economies are anchored, they're based on farming. So farming is a serious business. And if you want to make money, or if you need to be someone tomorrow, I think farming is the way to go.
Yeah, but Admire, you are 20 years old. You just wrote your A level. How then were you juggling farming and school?
To be honest, it was very hard for me. It was difficult. I still remember when I was still at school, they didn't allow cell phones at my school. So I had to manage, because I had to manage to say, I had to talk with some clients. I'm the one who manage most of the social media platforms of the company. And sometimes I had to sneak in my phone so that I could do what I had to do, even though I was doing the wrong thing. It was very difficult. But I managed. I would say I managed, because I also had to balance between books and balance between the business aspect. And I can safely say it was not easy, but we sailed through, definitely.
Wow, that's interesting. Admire, first and foremost, I would like to give credit to your father, Mr. Mbambaira. Guys, to all those who know, this is Admire, the son of Mr. Mbambaira. Mr. Mbambaira for Mr. Mbambaira Investments. And when he talks about Mbambaira, he is very passionate about sweet potatoes. Last time I heard him talk, he was talking and giving the Mbambaira names. That's how passionate he is about it. Yes. And then to all those who have joined us, guys, we've got Admire, a 20-year-old who is a sweet potato farmer based in Zimbabwe. And I think Admire's story is very inspirational to both parents and their children, to say, look, you can still make it when you do projects like farming, okay? Investing into farming. Or for me, the lesson I can pick from this is parents need to teach their children some of the professions that they know, you know. Kana muri vanhu vanogona kurima, dzidzisai vana kurima. I mean, look at Admire. Baba wake anorima, and Admire wacho akatotangawo zvekurima. And Admire didn't just stop there. Admire actually recently wrote his A level, so he's a very intelligent young man. Admire. So, by the way, where is your farm?
Our farm is at Semlevy Farm, Sunside Central, Zimba East, under Mashonaland, West Province. So I would just say it's in Harare, because when you are coming from town, you get to Snake Road. It's only about 4.8 kilometers from the main road to our farm.
Okay, I know there are different crops out there that people can grow, Admire, right? So,
Yeah.
what is it that got you to say, look, let's do mbambaira, let's not do chibage, let's not do mananga, let's do sweet potato? What is it that got you to say, okay, you're gonna specialize in sweet potatoes?
Yeah, you know how it started. We actually started small. I remember by that time we were back there in Moonrakers, somewhere in Nyabira. That's where we started.
Oh, wow.
And I would actually sound like one of those motivational speakers who would say, I started with 1 grain of rice and now I opened a factory. But it's the truth. We started with, I think, yeah, it was only about 4 beds of sweet potato, if I remember. It wasn't even that much. But up to now, I can safely say that we are the biggest supplier of sweet potato vines and products here in Zimbabwe. So it's actually a milestone that I really appreciate.
So, because I remember back in the day as well, we, when I was staying in Harare, we used to, I told him mbambaira, but it wasn't that, that you're just forced by your parents kuti andonogadzira muhombo wembambaira muita mbambaira mihomba kana 2 3 and stuff like that. Saka imimi, if you're doing it at, like, let's say large scales like you do, how is the preparation process like including the land and the crop? Can you take us through that?
Okay, so like any other crop that you would be growing at a farm, there is a need for the first thing in farming that I've learned. You need to learn about the specific crop that you want to grow. So you have to employ the agronomic knowledge first before you start, and you employ good agronomic practice. So it goes on to land preparation. That's the first thing. You also need to learn crop management and nurturing, in terms of how you apply the first fertilizers and how you also apply the pesticides and all that until you get to harvest. So the same stages that you'd go through when you are doing any kind of farming, or you're doing any crop, is the same way that you definitely do when
Right.
you're doing mbambaira.
Lovely. So, to all those who have joined us on the Twa Penguin podcast, we've got Admire, a 20-year-old sweet potato farmer. Admire is following in the footsteps of his father, who is famously known as Mr. Mbambaira. I think if you hear his father talk about Mbambaira, he is so passionate, just like Admire. And like I said, Admire just recently wrote his A levels. It shows that this young man is passionate both at school and farming. And the lesson that most parents should take from this is that we need to teach our children basic skills, and my professions at now, we should be able to impact them on our children. All right. So, Admire, what in any as a layperson, I want to start business in Mbambaira. What's the best time of the year? Yekutanga kuti, okay, this is the best time to start kugadzira nyadzi Mbambaira.
Okay, so when it comes to sweet potato, most people they lack knowledge. So you can do mbambaira all year round like any other crop, provided that you have the facilities in terms of irrigation or any watering supply source. And let's just say except for winter, because it's mbambaira is badly affected by the winter season conditions. But if you have planted early before winter, you can actually harvest. So we can just say it's an all year rounder.
Lovely. And so if, let's say, I want to order mbambera from you guys, where do you sell your crop?
Sorry, come again?
So let's say I want to order from you guys. I want to buy from you. Where do you guys sell mbambera?
Okay, so we do have the farm. People can actually come and buy from the farm, or rather they would come or visit our office. We have an office at White House shopping complex within the Fugare complex. It's stand number B02, corner Auckland Road and Blair Road. That's where our offices are based. But I personally would encourage farmers to come to the farm, to visit our farm, because I believe that a farmer is someone who's serious. And if you are to venture into any project, you need to be there on the ground so that you can actually see or witness with your own eyes what really is going on.
Lovely. To all those who have joined us, welcome to the Toa Penguin podcast, where you find your voice. I'm your host, Toa Penguin, and not forgetting our sponsors and partners, Zimlove. Today we are talking farming, and we've got a 20-year-old farmer, Admire. He's into sweet potato farming. So if you are interested and wanting to know more about sweet potato farming, please stay tuned into the Toa Penguin podcast. So, Admire, do you guys export your crop like outside Zimbabwe? Do you sell it anywhere?
For us, we do not directly export, but we have our partners, people who we work with, who we export the products and the crops. We have various marketing platforms, and most of our produce here at the farm, they just they are mostly pre-orders. People just come and buy in bulk. So we put very little effort when it comes to export, because people locally, they are actually demanding our sweet potato. So we do not have to look much into exporting. But we have other people who are exporting, some who buy from us and some who do it on their own.
And then you, as a young farmer, Admire, how were you juggling school and farming?
Yeah, it was very tough, because when you become business minded, or when you have that mindset of a farmer or someone who's just into business enterprise and entrepreneurship, you focus your mind a lot on making money.
Right.
So when I was at school, I knew that I had to learn, because I'm very much passionate about law. I'll be pursuing law as my career.
Yeah, big up, 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 big up.
Yes. So yeah, I had to manage. I had no choice but to manage. So I worked really hard. I made sure that I would rather utilize my spare time in managing the business and making sure that everything is going well, rather than playing. For me, there was no time to get fresh air. I did here and there, but my mindset was always hooked on making the business a success.
So you guys at Mbambaira Investments, do you guys offer any training to any aspiring farmers?
Yes, we do offer training. We actually have a training school. So people actually come day in, day out, and they get to learn about sweet potato farming, because sweet potato farming is different when it comes to us. The way we see sweet potato farming and the way most people see sweet potato farming is different. It's not something that is taken serious by most people. But if I would tell you one thing, is that it actually pays more than other crops like maize and other crops, because per hectare, if you're doing very well after we've trained you here, we'll be looking at 25,000, around 17, approximately 17,000 US dollars to 25,000 US dollars after you've harvested. So we train farmers from land preparation, we train them from crop nurturing and crop management, how to apply fertilizers, how to apply herbicides, how to apply pesticides, and harvesting as well. Because we also have a process in sweet potato farming which we call hardening, whereby we need to harden the sweet potato tubers so that we give it taste. It needs time to give out all those fertilizers and the chemicals. So it's actually a process. And people get surprised now when they are producing bad crops or bad produce, whereby you have something which doesn't taste nice and people do not like it. It's because you do not have the knowledge. So here at Mr. Mbambaira, at the training school, people get to learn about everything from land preparation up to harvest.
I've seen a lot where people say that it's Mbambaira Dinake, you need to say. So there's actually more to it. It's not just about
Yeah,
Mbambaira, then you start eating. So there's a lot to that, to like
yeah,
Mbambaira. There's something you guys do for the Mbambairas to be sweet.
there is more to it. For you to become a certified sweet potato farmer, you need to learn. I mean, I've realized one thing as well, that in Zimbabwe, or rather, I would say in Africa,
Yeah.
we are not yet serious when it comes to farming, because we do things in a way which is very, very immature, and we do not put some seriousness into what we are doing.
Okay.
Because, I mean, look at countries which are thriving in the sweet potato value chain, the likes of China. Those guys, they are making a lot out of sweet potato, because sweet potato, not only does it give sweet potato tubers, but there's a value chain which is linked to sweet potato farming. You could look at sweet potato flour, look at sweet potato spices, look at yogurt. You can actually make yogurt, you can make porridge. There are a lot of things that you can make. So if you do not have oversight now of what you want to do, or rather, if you lack determination or seriousness in when it comes to the sweet potato project, yeah, you won't go anywhere.
All right. Do you know that you've mentioned something interesting? I'm based in the UK, and I've noticed that I've never seen any Zimbabwean who does sweet potato farming, because I know most of the people, when they're doing sweet potatoes, they actually order from Uganda. I've seen guys from Uganda bringing in sweet potatoes in the UK. So
Yeah.
it's just sometimes we have to wonder, like, why can't we do it as Zimbabweans to bring our own? You know, is it something that you guys might consider, like exporting Bambara to places like the UK and other countries abroad?
Yeah, I mean, like, we have people from our clients from the UK who have been buying from us. Some buy the sweet potato tubers. Some even came to buy flour, because we are actually launching a new product, I think by next year in January, we are going to have a new product on the market, sweet potato flour, which is on demand. Because last year when we had the sweet potato flour, it was on demand up until people started coming to us saying that we need more, and we were out of the sweet potato, so we didn't meet the people's demand. So we're actually working on doing it at a larger scale. And I mean, sweet potato has a lot of nutritious benefits. You can talk of vitamin A, you can talk of a lot of nutritious values. So it's something which people really like. And yeah, some people do come in here, some from the UK, some from Zambia, Botswana, Namibia. We've supplied to a lot of people who are in a lot of countries, different countries, including the UK.
So, you know, like in Zimbabwe, we've been hit by drought so many years. Then how do you guys go around drought in terms of mbambaira or in terms of sweet potato farming? How do you go beyond that? How do you conquer that?
I think the first thing that people have to know now is that sweet potato is a drought-resistant crop. It can manage through tough hot and warm conditions, but thankfully we are now in an age and day where there is innovation in farming and technology. So we can utilize drip irrigation, we can utilize overhead irrigation, we can utilize rain pipe irrigation. So those are just some of the methods that we can use when we are watering our sweet potato in the field.
So besides that, what are your challenges that you normally face if as a sweet potato farmer? And to all those who have joined us, I've got to admire a 20-year-old sweet potato farmer based in Zimbabwe. Admire has got an amazing story to share. I mean, if you look at it, many 20-year-olds don't do farming and they wouldn't be doing what Admire is doing. And Admire followed in the footsteps of his father, who is Mr. Mbambaira. You know, if you ever had Mr. Mbambaira Investments, Admire is the son to Mr. Mbambaira. And he is actively involved in the day-to-day running of the farm. So we've got Admire here, and thank you so much for joining in. So Admire, take us through the challenges that you face when you in farming sweet potatoes. Is Yeah, you can go ahead, Admire.
Okay, so when it comes to challenges, the biggest challenges that most farmers who are doing sweet potato face when they have not learned from us, if I am to be specific, is the challenge of this pest called pongwe, or in English they call it tuber moth, and as well as nota, those moths.
Yes.
So what the tuber moth does is that it eats the whole sweet potato up until they can even finish the whole thing. But some, let's say they've been bitten by pongwe, when you eat them or when you cook them, they have a very bitter taste. They don't taste nice. It's because of that pest. So it ruins the whole aspect of sweetness when it comes to sweet potato. And we also have nuta, or rather, we would call them moths. They also affect sweet potato. They can dig underground and they can bite the sweet potato. And what a farmer needs to know when it comes to those challenges is that you just need to know the right chemicals to use and the stage, the time when to apply them and when to not apply them. So those are some of the challenges that sweet potato farmers face. And as for us, I think one of the challenges that we are facing at the moment is the challenge of land. We do have a very, very small land. With our vision and where we are planning to go, I think that's a very huge challenge.
So in terms of growth, are you saying that you guys are actually you've actually grown from where you started to where you are now?
Yeah, I would safely say that we've grown, because I mean, look at how we started. I told you we started with the 4 beds.
Uh-huh.
We started with 4 beds. That might sound like a fiction story, but we started with 4 beds, and up until now, I think passion and determination was the main driver. But we are where we are here today because of the resilience that we've taken. And I think if we are about to talk numbers, when we started even our Facebook page, we're not even recognized. But now in Zimbabwe, when you talk about sweet potato, we talk of Mr. Mbambaira.
To all those who've joined us, we've got Mr. Mbambaira. Okay, this is Admire, a 20-year-old sweet potato farmer. So, Admire, how was it when you were growing up, trying to be a normal kid like any other kid, playing on the streets? Were you playing on the streets, or most of your time was being at the farm?
I can say I barely had time to be out there. I even barely had time for my social life, because I think my father was very strict when it came to nurturing us. So during our free times, when we were not at school, he used to take us at the farm. It's either he takes us at the farm or he takes us at the castle, because we are also into car dealership. Or he would take us at the auction. We also do auctioning of furniture. So yeah, he wanted us to grow that business mindset. So all the way up to being an adult today, I think I can say that I wasn't a normal kid.
I can totally understand that. And
Yeah.
just going back to the fact where you're talking about that issue of land. So at the current moment, what's the size of your farm and probably the size of the layout?
The size of our plot is 6.2 hectares, and we've managed to cover all the 6 hectares with sweet potato as I speak right now.
Okay.
And we actually think that we have to expand, because sweet potato right now, as we speak, people are starting to learn, people are starting to understand, and there is a growing demand of sweet potato.
Do you know that back in the day, I remember when we're in Zimbabwe, that if people see you eating mbambaira, then you come to the UK, you find kuti mbambaira is very expensive. You miss it, and it's very expensive to buy. And it's also nutritious as well. It's very healthy. Now we only start watching these things now. Okay, this is what we're missing out. Saka, it's very important. So in terms of mbambaira, the storage, when you guys are done with the harvest, storage wise, how do you store mbambaira?
When storing the sweet potato, you can just store it the same way you store any other farm produce. Like you can put them in pallets, or those sandags, the one you store tomatoes in, or you can just put them in a grading shed. But like I have said before, you'd find that most farmers who do not have enough knowledge, or who are not fully equipped with the knowledge and know-how of sweet potato, they tend to have their products being affected now by, let's say, when you store them, they start squashing, and they are not firm enough, so they get ruined during the storing process. And yeah, it's something that you actually need to know how do you do it when it comes to the hardening process, because the sweet potato has to be firm and strong. They have to do away with all the liquids that they take in during the growth process, because it plays a very, very big role when it comes to the harvesting stage.
So in terms of sales and marketing, uh, where do you normally sell your crops, and then how do you market them to your customers?
Like I said, as for us and our clients, people who have bought from us, uh, if you can check the Facebook page and you just scroll down, you can see that they are bountifully harvesting. Even the size of sweet potato that they harvest is even bigger than my head. And in terms of marketing, it's not even a problem. Over we have over 15 platforms, 15 platforms on WhatsApp, and we also have platforms on Facebook. We're also on Instagram. So in our WhatsApp groups, we have those people who are just laymen, who are just waiting for the product. Like I said, there are people who actually export the sweet potato, and there are people who actually buy. Because when it comes to a sweet potato, like as I speak right now in Zimbabwe, there is a shortage of sweet potato in Manicaland, in Mutare there in the Eastern Islands. There is shortage of sweet potato in places like Blawayo. So sweet potato is actually high on demand in those areas. And uh, we have the platforms, we have farmers and marketers around Zimbabwe and outside who are just waiting to buy sweet potato.
I'm I'm actually impressed because you guys have got like you offer training to aspiring farmers, because sometimes we think that some of these things you can just wake up and be a farmer. But I believe that there's so much hard work and dedication that is put into it. You being a 20-year-old young farmer, what advice would you give to other teenagers and people your age?
Uh, the advice that I would give to other youths out there, and supposedly people in my age group, is that there is no time. We tend to be so reluctant. We say, I'll start working when I get to this stage. But the honest truth is that there's no time. You can only imagine that almost 80% of your life, you're supposed to be at school. You start from ECD. Let's say you start from kindergarten, you go to ECD, you go to primary school, that's another 7 years. You go to high school, that's another 6 years. Then you go to tertiary education at university level, that's another 5 or 4 years. And you're actually growing old, and you're waiting to look for a job, to find a career or a career path, if you do not have an idea about what you even want to do when you grow up. But I mean, if you venture into farming, it could be not sweet potato farming alone. You can venture into any kind of farming. You could see that you, by the time that you maybe finish university level, you'd have gone somewhere, you'd have actually made good progress that you can look back and see, to say, I did something which is progressive in my life. I mean, look at white farmers when they were still here in Zimbabwe. uh, White farmers, they concentrated. In fact, I would just say white people, most white people, they were more versed into farming other than anything else. You'd find that a white guy owning a property in Mashonaland East, in Brook, or any northern suburb would be spending most of their time with their kids at the farms. They have a farmhouse there. So they invest more into farming because farming is the way to go, I told you, my brother. Because on a daily basis, people need to eat. And where is the food coming from? It's coming from the ground.
To all those who have joined us, welcome to the Toa Penguin podcast where you find your voice. Today I've got a special guest. His name is Admire, 20-year-old sweet potato farmer. Admire is the son to Mr. Mbambaira, and these are the guys who own Mbambaira Investments. So if you want to talk sweet potatoes in Zimbabwe, you talk about Mr. Mbambaira, and this is Admire. And it's so inspiring that is a 20-year-old who knows well about farming. Admire had to juggle between, he just recently finished his A-levels, but then at the same time, Admire has to be at the farm, making sure kuti mbambaira dziri kumanya. So that's so inspiring, Admire. And also, do you have any words of inspiration to the girl child?
To the girl child is problematic. The girl child is naughty. Yeah, but all I would say is that, this is not something which is said, Kutia, it's not unisex, it's only for guys. I mean, we have a lot of women who have ventured into farming.
That's good.
There's this lady.
Did we just have a glitch? And while still waiting for Admire to reconnect, I think he has had some technical difficulties. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a 20-year-old sweet potato farmer, and they're doing very well in Zimbabwe. They're farming sweet potatoes, and he had to juggle between school and the farm. It's really impressive, and I wish most of the parents also can be able to pass their skills to their children. Admire has been working with his father, who is Mr. Mbambaira, at the farm from a very tender age. And then now he's just finished his A-levels, but still works at the farm with his dad and is actively involved in sweet potato farming. So ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to pass on your skills to your children because, farming is very important. And who would ever thought that we can actually have 20-year-olds that we can say, look, we want you to do farming. Most of the 20-year-olds we have these days, they won't be doing farming. They will be doing all sorts of different things. I know it's by choice, but if we've got people like Admire, this is really, it's an inspiration to even the elderly to say, look, you can still venture into farming and still make it. These guys, there is money in farming. And if you look at it, if you are outside the country, like if you are here in the UK, sweet potato is expensive. And you always hear people from Africa saying, yeah, I miss sweet potato. We really do miss it, but it becomes so expensive. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Admire, the son to Mr. Mbambaira, and we were talking about Mbambaira, sweet potato farming. And then what I'll do, I'm going to put Admire's number in the chat, and if you need any more information about sweet potato farming, please feel free to contact Mbambaira Investments, or you can actually inbox me and I'll get you the contacts. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the Toa Penguin podcast, where you find your voice. I'm your host, Toa Penguin, and thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, guys. Thank you so much, and have a pleasant